Hello, everyone, and welcome live to the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here on 3 Wide TV. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is Mitchell Adams. Garrett Gleason has the night off here tonight. And Mitchell, we're at Martinsville, 150 laps here tonight. The paperclip, short track action. Tempers always seem to flare at this racetrack.
Yeah, definitely a racetrack that can create some really exciting racing and some intense racing as drivers are door by door and use the brakes quite a bit here, more than most other tracks. So the opportunity is definitely here for these drivers to mix it up and create some great racing action for us here tonight.
Yeah, that is for sure. Just about 2 minutes left here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series practice session here tonight. As you see all the drivers work their way into turn number 1. It is the number 99 of Philip Scott, currently the fastest on the board of all. Chris Darling, Maxwell Castro, who is on a little bit of a tear here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. He will be third on the board. Thomas Kohik in the 05, kind of a newcomer to the league, sitting there up inside the top 5. Jason Gracias rounding out your top 5 in the number 1 machine. But some new faces here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Going to be interesting to see how they were performing here tonight on the very tricky Martinsville Speedway, Mitchell.
Yeah, this is definitely a track that's going to test any new driver here. As Jason Gracias, I believe, went for a little spin there, headed into turn 1 of the paperclip. But it's a pretty big field we have here tonight. A lot of drivers looking to take advantage of this race. Usually a strategy a lot of people, including myself, employ here is just kind of live to the end and you'll have a chance at the race, because this track is always chaotic and puts on some great racing, but there's a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong. So all those new drivers we have here tonight probably going to be looking to have a clean night out and hopefully make a name for themselves here and get a little respect from their fellow drivers. As practice almost rounded up with Philip Scott topping your board. You were looking at the 30 right now of Alexander Kerfan, as their drivers, a lot of cars out on track taking practice, getting ready for qualifying with a lot of close times here, Peter. So it'd be interesting to see who can take that top spot here in qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying just a few moments away. Our friends over at craigsubshop.co.uk, of course, sponsoring that as the 11 there of Chris Darling, absolutely impaling the wall. But one thing I want to note here tonight, Mitchell, is patience. These drivers in the past couple of races, seems like tension has been running a little bit high in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, and I'm curious to know if some of these drivers here tonight will be keeping that in mind. Hopefully we don't see a lot of that aggression come out on the racetrack, but we have been seeing that, maybe hopefully get to see a little bit of give and take here tonight, some green flag action. Hopefully that is what we want to see here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Hopefully we can keep the caution flag in the flagman's pocket here tonight. Johnny Williams in the chat joining us, saying good luck all and hello to the booth. Johnny, hopefully you're having a good evening. Not out there on the racetrack, I don't believe, here tonight, Johnny. Hopefully we'll get to see you back behind the wheel here quite soon. But I was just getting a phone call from someone, unsure who that was, but I'll tell you what, just looking at the leaderboard, Philip Scott picking up where he left off practice, currently fastest of all.
Yep, Philip Scott so far has the top time here in qualifying. As you see someone going for a ride there coming out of turn 4, that's the 08 of Glenn Grimm. So he put in a time currently sitting 8th place. Let's see, my standings got a little messed up. I'm trying to fix that here. All right, Philip Scott still at the top of the board. Chris Darling holds the 2nd position right now. Still a lot of close times within a few tenths. Is my timing scoring, Peter, still messing up. So I'm going to get looking here as the 54 goes for a ride headed down into a braking zone. That's Matt Cherries. He's trying to get that thing going back straight again here, but a lot of drivers, it looked like we saw 2 spins so far in qualifying. Is this track really difficult to get that car slowed up, easy to wheel hop into these corners. I was out doing a little practice here in these Xfinity cars earlier today, just kind of seeing what these guys are dealing with, as Matt Cherry's going to go show us the garage area here at Martinsville. Definitely difficult to get these Beer Street Journal Grand National cars to slow down up into the corners, as now focus back out onto the track. I believe that is the 22 of Race Clark out for his timed lap here. See if he has anything for Philip Scott or Maxwell Castro, who currently holds the fast time. 5th place for Clark there on his fast lap, but so far it looks like Maxwell Castro is holding your pole.
Yeah, and Castro going top of the board, dethroning Philip Scott, who held that top time for a brief moment. Castro, who has been on a tear since joining the league, of course, a couple of weeks back at Sonoma. He went out last week with a fantastic performance in his number 15 machine. Unfortunately, we've yet to interview him in victory lane so far this season. Jason Gracias, Joshua Sobel, a good qualifying run for Josh here tonight. Just about a minute and 37 seconds left before we hand out tonight's pole award, brought to you by friends over at craigsubshop.co.uk. Stay tuned sports in the chat here tonight for the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Brantley Roden saying, "Hey, Jimbo, what's up?" How's it going, Stay Tuned Sports? I'm up here in the booth. That's what's up. Got Mitchell Adams alongside me. 150 laps on hand for us here tonight at the Paperclip Half-Mile Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, known for its hot dogs and the fact that it has train tracks on the backstretch. And as well, it's the oldest running NASCAR racetrack that's still in the premier top series of NASCAR, going all the way back to the 1940s, I do believe. So it is really cool to have Martinsville Speedway still on the NASCAR season. Stay tuned sports saying, what's up, buddy? Yeah, hopefully you're having a good evening. And I don't know, what's the football game tonight, Jimbo? I've become detached. I don't know the Thursday night game. Do you know the Thursday night game, Mitchell? We can put that. I can put that on in the background while I'm commentating.
I don't think I know who's playing. Maybe the Bengals. I'm not sure, but I struggle to pay attention to the NFL during the regular season, Peter, but usually when the playoffs come around is when I pick up and cheer on my Colts if they can manage to make it, which they probably won't this year. But that's all right, as qualifying's getting wrapped up, and it is looking like it will be Maxwell Castro, unless someone comes in 1 second, which they're not going to do. Maxwell Castro is going to take your pole award here at Martinsville Speedway.
So Castro continuing his fine run of form, and Farv Nasty in the chat saying, "It's the Jets versus your Colts. Your Colts are playing, Mitchell. Your Colts are playing right now."
I did know that, actually, as soon as you said that. Hopefully we're not like the Bengals, who did get beat by the Jets. See, I'm mixing up my games, Peter, but I kind of know what I'm talking about.
It's okay, as long as you kind of know what you're talking about when it comes to the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, we'll forgive you. We are moving over into the race session. As you can see now, Mitchell, the track conditions have completely changed where they were at in practice just a little while ago. As we move over into the race session, evening race, as the sun sets, the lights will come on, the track will continue to cool down, but it is now time to bring up tonight's starting lineup, brought to you by our friends over at craigssetupshop.co.uk. Starting on the pole, Maxwell Castro in his number 15 machine, continuing that fine run of form that we've been mentioning. Jason Gracias in second. Josh Sobel, James Miller, the Canadian driver I'll be keeping my eye on here tonight. Very fast since making his debut last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in fourth. Alexander Kerfan and Race Clark on row number 3. Philip Scott, Chris Darling rounding out your top 8. Corey Shellman and Brady Smith finishing your top 10, Mitchell.
And Thomas Koeck starts in the 11th position with Matt Cherry to his outside. John Freeman starts 13th with Steven Lechensky in 14th position. Jeffrey Vickery in 15th with Ben Mashburn to his outside. Jordan Shepler 17th. Stephen Ford 18th. Joshua Watt 19th. Glenn Grimm rounds out your cars that took time in qualifying in the 20th position. And behind them will be Martin Plute in 21st, Jason Shue 22nd, and Shane Ledoux rounds out your field in 23rd.
Jason Shue and Shane Ledoux rounding out your field. I kind of like the ring to that. The number 3 and the number 12 at the back of the field here tonight. We'll see them roll their way through the field, but that is going to do it for tonight's starting lineup. These drivers now going to have a little bit of time to warm up their tires before the iRacing pace car will head down onto pit road, and we'll get tonight's 150 lap race started here at Mitchell. Anything that you think here tonight that will be key to winning? I know you've already said kind of keeping your car clean and out of the big accidents. Usually that helps, but track position I think will also be key.
Yeah, usually Martinsville tends, especially on the longer runs, to be a difficult track to pass on those longer runs. So drivers definitely going to value track position and kind of saving your tires up to help you stay out maybe on a medium length run to gain some track positions. Not out of the question here, but I really think this race is going to come down to keeping your car clean and not making too many enemies out there on track as the iRacing pace car heads down pit road. The 15 of Maxwell Castro going to lead the field to green with Jason Gracias on his outside. Green flag in the air, loud pedals down, and Jason Gracias with a great restart on the outside is going to take the lead down into turn 1.
Yeah, Gracias got shot out of a cannon in the number 1 machine. Hopefully he does not have an iRacing black flag. He will assume the race lead. There's already some contact back there. Alexander Kerfon, I think that was going for a little bit of a ride. The field scatters. Philip Scott almost getting into the outside wall. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum. You see him already sliding back to the driver who was fastest in the practice session. The number 99 machine already -6 spots on the initial start. There he is racing alongside John Freeman for position, but already we're starting to see, caution flag already in the air.
Yeah, early contact and exciting couple of laps there as the drivers, I think, we talked about it getting used to different race conditions than qualifying. Is taking a look here on the 3 wide TV replay. Looks like the 21 got a little bit wide down out of that turn, and is that the 27 maybe? The 27 of Stephen Ford just kind of got loose down in the braking zone, might have wheel hopped, which is something we talked about, or I know I mentioned before the race, into that corner and just kind of went around. As we're going to try and get another look at that one here from another angle, riding on board, I believe, with that 27 car. You see him headed down into the corner, gets on the brakes, and that rear end just goes around on him.
Yeah, and unfortunately clipped his teammate as well, the number 21 machine. So a couple of the threat level midnight machines already having a long night. We're only 3 laps in. Let's see if we can get a look of some of that wheel hop that you might be speaking of here on this camera angle. Let's slow this down as he gets into the braking zone, which is coming up here very shortly. There we go. You can see that rear suspension's just kind of skidding, and now he's going up into his teammate right there, locks the rear wheels, and finally gets off the brakes so it starts spinning just a little bit again before he locks it up again to prevent any further accident. But we're already under our first caution flag here tonight, so we will give that caution counter to 1 here tonight. Let's see if we can have predictions in the chat to how many caution flags we are going to see. Let's see, we got a Heady Rig saying, I'm fully torqued for this race tonight. Did you use a torque wrench? Kind of curious. Let's see, folks. Let us know what your predictions are for caution flags here tonight. First one coming on lap number 3. We're behind the iRacing pace car. And hopefully we can get some caution flags out of the way early and get some long green flag runs in, Mitchell.
Yeah, definitely the hope you can get these wrecks out of the way. Just kind of, I think that one was a product of maybe thinking he could get into the corner like he could in qualifying, but the track kind of heated up a little bit, so maybe not as much grip as they had during practice and qualifying. But once they kind of get some laps on the track, hopefully those kinds of incidents will go away. As I believe they're coming to 1 to green this time by, yes they are, iRacing pace car lights are off. Jason Grossi is taking the inside lane for this restart. I almost thought, Peter, he'd go back up to that outside since he got such a good jump there on the initial start of this race, but that's not the case here. As we're looking at that Tony Stewart throwback, the number 14 of, ooh, there. Oh, I actually don't know who that is. I'm not seeing a 14 in session, so you may have to help me with that one, Peter. But
yeah, that's Thomas Kohik. He's number 05 on the scoring pylon here tonight. Meanwhile, pace car is down pit road and green flag back in the air. Jason Gracias, you've got a fantastic start of the race, gets a good restart, and look at the 09 James Miller trying to sneak on through up to second. The Canadian driver there in his Toyota Supra gets the power down and is going to clear the 15. Look at Chris Darling making a late lunge in the number 11 up there at the top of the screen. We're going to be side by side between Race Clark and Josh Sobel. Sobel now looking to the inside of the number 15 machine, hard racing early on. These drivers, got to get some laps in here, Mitchell. We've talked about the wheel hop. We've already seen it. These drivers probably, they're going to race. All they can get is Race Clark. Speaking of racing, heavy into turn number 3, and might have made a little bit of contact with Josh Sobel coming out of 4, and now Clark gets loose going into turn number 1.
Yeah, definitely given everything he has into it is the 22 of Clark there on the outside, but it looks like Josh Sobel almost has that pass complete. Clark's going to fight back on the outside as they head down into the turn. A little bit up in front of them, James Miller getting challenged by Maxwell Castro for that second position. Give that one to Castro as they head down into turn 1, but Miller, while he tried to fight back on the outside, but give the position to the 15, headed into turn 3 and 4. But behind them, there is contact between the 22, and who is that behind him? Maybe Matt Cherry. No, not Cherry. Alexander Kerfan, the 30, made a little contact, but still side-by-side action up in front of them. The 22 trying to get back in lane. Now it's Matt Cherry sending it up the inside, and there's contact between those two. Race Clark goes around, and that's going to bring out another caution.
Ooh, and then gets a little bit of a love tap there at the end. Caution flag waves for the second time here tonight. The National Air and Space Administration machine, who is doing quite well in the point standings, but it just doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of luck. Let's see if we can see what happened here to the NASA machine as he goes off into the corner. There's the number 54, sends it up the inside, starts coming up the racetrack. There's the contact right there. Looks like Cherry may have been just a little bit over-ambitious with a very late lunge underneath the number 22 of Race Clark, but a great job here of Chris Darling to check up and avoid the spinning machine there. And then Race Clark here, we're going to play it. He kind of stops right there, and then someone right at the end, I think that was Jordan Shepler, decided to come out and sideswipe the number 22 machine, but unfortunately, we're under caution flag here on lap number 14. We'll raise the caution count once more. For all your Race Clark fans in the chat, he's going to fall all the way back to the 19th position, but Jason Gracias is your race leader up at the front of the field. Biggest mover of the race so far is Shane Ledoux. Remember, started shotgun on the field here tonight, Mitchell. Already up 7 spots, up to 16th.
Yeah, definitely making quick work to this field, especially considering a lot of these 15 laps were under cautions. We're already up to 2, and cautions take a lot of laps here at Martinsville since it's such a short track, but definitely aggressive racing, I think, is what we saw there again. Drivers really trying to get that track position early on in this race, just maybe fought a little too hard. We saw some great battles, but Cherry might have misjudged that entry slightly. It wasn't much going up the track, Peter, but when you're on the outside lane at Martinsville, you really have to try and pinch down that car on the inside, and that's exactly what Race Clark was doing. Unfortunately, not going to work out too well for him there as we're looking at that nice little camera on the track. I love those when you bring those up, Peter. This is a really nice camera angle too. These are some I haven't seen here before, so definitely great work from the 3-wide TV camera team here tonight.
Yeah, got a little bit of the drone cam action here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway. So just checking in to see if we've had some drivers pit. We actually have. Stephen Ford has pitted. Stephen Lashinsky has come down pit road. Jason Shu as well. Those drivers making their first pit stop here tonight as we look at Shane Ledoux, biggest mover of the race so far. But he's not your race leader. Jason Gracias is and looks like he is going to choose the inside line for the upcoming green flag. We are through 2 caution flags in the opening 17 laps here tonight. Daniel Noble coming in saying, hello, who is this, Peter? This alongside me is Mitchell Adams here tonight. Dan, hopefully you're having a good night. I know you've been extremely busy over the last little bit. Hopefully things calm down, although I think I think things are going into your busy season. So Garrett Gleason saying, I'm having with the Lucarelli family, had a nice steak dinner. If I can't spend my Thursday with Peter Short and the 3YTV audience, this is a good alternative. Well, you get to spend your evening with us and the Lucarellis because you're in the chat here tonight as Jason Gracias leads us back to green flag, and the 09 of James Miller also trying to do what he did last time, Mitchell, and that's get underneath the number 15 of Castro as they almost go 3 or 4 wide in the back.
Yeah, Castro really been struggling on these starts and restarts here. Drops another position there down to third. That 14, who's actually the 05 of Thomas Kohik, up to the 4th position on this restart as they're side by side a little ways behind him. That's the 30 and the... No, that was the 30 and the 10, I believe. Yes, I got it right second time. And that John Deere paint schemes the 30, locks it up. Headed into that corner. Got up into the wall. They're going to settle it back down a little bit as there's another side-by-side battle between Philip Scott and Josh Sobel headed into turn 1. Sobel got a little bit up the track also there. But the field a little more single-filed out toward the front here quicker than they were the first 2. Maybe they're learning to settle down. I say that. And Chris Darling going for the move up the inside on Thomas Kohik for the 4th position. Side by side through turns 1 and 2. Give it to Darling down the back straightaway. Here comes Philip Scott looking to take that 5th position away. Going to try and do it on the outside lane through turns 3 and 4 here. Not going to be able to clear it as they head out of that turn. Still side by side into 1 and 2 as that's allowed Darling to pull away. Good battles back here in the field too. We've got the 30 of Alexander Kerfman finding himself getting passed by John Freeman in that 04. And looking back up at Philip Scott versus Thomas Kohik, that battle not died away yet as Philip Scott still trying to do it. And I think that 14 kind of gave Philip that position, headed into turns 1 and 2, said, all right, I kind of want to not race this hard this early on.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, look at that. That is a huge lunge from Ben Mashburn right there. Really aggressive maneuver by the MaxGrafix.co number 24 machine. Josh Sobel able to hold on to the position. Sobel not throwing a block or anything. You can also see the battle back behind. That's Alexander Kerfan getting underneath the 04 machine, John Freeman. And now Mashburn now going to be under fire from the 04 of Freeman. How quickly things change here at Martinsville Speedway. We are now working lap number 25 of the 150 we have scheduled. There's a little bit of connection issues for Ben Mashburn right there. That's the reason for that little bit of a hiccup. But Gracias is out front. Race Clark trying to work his way back up through the field. He's caught up to the 08 of Glenn Grimm right here. You can see the 22 all banged up. And let's see if we can bring up the point standings. We have not brought those up here tonight. Drew Eisenman, who was 5th in points entering into tonight, folks. Well, Drew is not here on the racetrack, so he had to take a provisional. Hope all is well with Drew. He had that ahead of time, so I'm sure something was planned. I'm not exactly sure. Hopefully he will be in the booth with me tomorrow night here on 3Wide TV, the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. But Race Clark sitting in 8th right now, currently inside the chase to make it into the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series chase for the Cup. But he has a lot of work here to do as he looks underneath the 08 of Glenn Grimm. And not able to make that pass stick. As you can see, the gap starting to develop in front of Glenn Grimm up to the back of Corey Shellman. There you see Shellman. So we've seen a lot of pace out of Race Clark in the early going. I'm wondering if that damage might have taken some speed out of the National Air and Space Machine.
Yeah, damage not as important here at Martinsville it is on bigger tracks like Daytona or even mile and a halfs like Atlanta, but is still important as there's another caution out on the racetrack. I believe the 13 of Jordan Scheffler ended up going around out of that turn. We're going to get a look at it right here. Here's Scheffler headed through 3 and 4, gets underneath the 20 car, and then they just pile up a little bit more contact with the 27, and then here comes the leaders out of turn 4, but 3 or 4 car incident here, Peter. I think the most we've seen so far, but that's going to put us under our 3rd caution of the night.
Yeah, and there, I'd say that accident continued on for quite some time. Let's see if we can get another look and see what happened here. Well, let's see if we can go up to the blimp cam. There we go. The blimp cam will kind of give us a better story. Was there? Wait, hold on. What happened to the number 20 machine? Did he clip the? No, I think he just got loose up in front. Watch him down there at the bottom of the screen. He kind of washes up the racetrack. Scheffler gets a huge run, and they just make contact coming out of the corner, and both of those drivers, some pretty hefty collisions right there, and you can see at the bottom of your screen, watch Stephen Ford down there, boom, right into the number 20 machine again, so the 20 got a double dose on that one. Not the first time we've seen Stephen Ford involved in a caution flag here tonight as well. But under this caution flag, we did have a mixed bag of takers on pit road. Your top 13 drivers elected to stay out. So Gracias all the way back to Race Clark, but then drivers like Shane Ledoux, Ben Mashburn, Jason Shue, Jeffrey Vickery, Alexander Kerfon, Stephen Ford, and Joshua Watt all on pit road right now. Martin Plute did not start the race here tonight, so we only had 22 of the 23 drivers get the green flag, and that will push our caution count up to 3. So we were keeping an eye on that. We had a prediction on how many caution flags we were going to have here tonight at Martinsville, and we're now up to 3 in the opening 32 laps. So if you do the math, Mitchell, we're kind of getting close to being on track for 15 caution flags here tonight. Hopefully that does not hold true, as the field still does not have the one to go from the iRacing flagman.
Now, hopefully we can get the caution settled down. Usually I feel like that tends to happen because as you get more cautions, you get more cars with damage, and that kind of separates the field a little bit. But that's going to take a few more cars with damage. Definitely not an unusual place to see an incident, but Martinsville, full of places where incidents are really possible here, is Jason Gracias gotten out front and managed to hold it so far. We haven't really seen a long green flag run, which I'm curious to see what kind of speed all these drivers will have when we get some laps going. Is the iRacing flagman waving that 1 to go caution flag. Pace car lights are out. Jason Gracias on the inside again. This time it's going to be James Miller to his outside with Maxwell Castro on the inside. Chris Darling up to 4th now on that outside lane, but expect Jason Gracias probably to get another start. I'm curious to see, Peter, what Castro can do on the inside behind the leader, because he struggled on the start so far, and I'm hoping that he can get a better one here with this position.
Yeah, we will only wait and find out here as Gracias gets a huge jump in the number 1 machine. Looks like Miller's going to be able to slot back in to 2nd. The side-by-side actions back behind them with Kohik and Philip Scott racing side-by-side. The 14 and the number 99. Doot on the rear end of the number 99. They're wrecking back behind him. The number 10, Brady Smith, goes around, and that is caution flag number 4.
Yep, another quick yellow. Looks like kind of what we'd call the accordion effect here, headed into the turn. We'll get a look at it here on the 3-wide TV replay. Looking at the 10 coming out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. He's going to try and slot into the inside in front of Josh Sobel. Sobel doesn't really realize he's coming down. The 54 Matt Cherry kind of checks up more than the 10 was expecting, so the 10 checks up, and then Sobel gets into the back of him. Just another kind of traditional style wreck here, headed down into the braking zone. Just an aggressive move to the inside, kind of, and that's unfortunately going to result in several more drivers with damage. We're going to get it on the slow-mo here. You see the 10 have to check up for the 54, and then Josh Sobel in the 56 behind him, just not enough time to react. And then this is a great camera shot headed through turn 3. You saw that front end almost lift up a little bit there on the 10, but great driving by a lot of these guys to avoid that wreck. You see someone all the way down below that line in the grass. I believe that is the 9 car. Just some great driving by guys not to pile right into that. But was that number 4 now, Peter? Add another one to our caution tally.
Yep, caution flag number 4 here tonight in the BeerStreetJournal.com Grand National Series, the Martinsville 150. And while we're under caution, why don't we check out our great friends over at BeerStreetJournal.com. Have not checked out their website in a couple of days. Still talking about the Sierra Nevada Celebration IPA cans returning. I have not seen those Celebration IPA cans just yet. I am keeping my eyes peeled for those, although I'm not a big IPA fan myself. I've highlighted that week to week. I know we probably got some IPA fans in the chat, but my kind of jam is anything. I like dark stuff, but I like light stuff too. As long as it isn't a Coors Light or a Miller Lite or something like that, I'm sure I'll get some beer cans thrown at me later after this one is all said and done. But anyway, make sure you check out our friends over at BeerStreetJournal.com. I'm posting a link in the description right now for all you folks to check out. If you're just now joining us for the first time here on 3 Wide TV, thanks for joining us here in the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series as the iRacing pace car lights have stopped twinkling. We'll be getting back to green here shortly. And Mitchell, I've dubbed that iRacing pace car the Kia Audi. It's a mix of a Kia, an Audi, and a Hyundai. And just they kind of smashed it all together and ended up with this fictitious pace car that is pacing the field once again. But good news is it's going down pit road right now.
Was that the Hyundai? I might have to use that, Peter, in the future. But either way, Jason Gracias getting ready to lead the field to another restart as they hit the restart zone now. Jason Gracias gets the throttle down once again very well. Another good start for James Miller on the outside. Chris Darling going to take the fight to Maxwell Castro for the 3rd position. Heading out of turns 1 and 2, you got a great view from behind the 09 of Miller, who's also closing up on your race leader. But Chris Darling gets a little bit high through that turn, almost gave the chance for Philip Scott to take it 3 wide. Scott going to lose some positions there, but the caution out once again, caution number 5 on the racetrack on lucky number 42.
Let's see if we can see what happened to bring out caution flag number 5. And not sure. We're hearing that it might have just been Joshua Watt on the racetrack that brought out the caution flag. You see him trying to let everyone on by here. Really slow on the racetrack. Not seeing anything yet to bring out that yellow flag. Is the yellow flag out at this point? No, it isn't. So I don't think it was Joshua. Oh, there it is. The number 69 machine of Stephen Lashinsky went around. So let's see if we can figure out what happened with him and possibly Alexander Kerfun here on this 3 Wide TV replay.
Yeah, taking a look now, headed down into turn 3. It looks like the 30 comes up behind him with a head full of steam, just tries to stick it underneath the 69 through the middle of the corner. Not really the 69, didn't really realize that the 30 got under him there through the middle of the corner and just makes a little bit of contact. Not too much damage, it looks like, on either of those race cars, so I'm thinking they're going to be able to keep going perfectly fine. But yeah, I hadn't seen that one. I also thought it was the 20, but there's definitely a quick caution. But hopefully now this time, Peter, someone's missing their entire front end of their race car. Hopefully we got a little bit better sense of how to keep it green flag here. But definitely when it's been green, I think here tonight, it's been great racing, as that is the 27 car. That's Stephen Ford, absolutely torn up. Not much left to call a race car there, but enough for him to keep turning some laps. Is missing the front end, missing the rear end. I think the only thing left is 4 tires, an engine, and a steering wheel for Stephen Ford there.
Yeah, Stephen Ford under this caution flag is our lucky dog, brought to you by our friends over at Brookstone Animal Hospital. Really big shout out to them, of course, in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area, and of course the Atlanta Braves, your 2021 World Series champions. How about that? Atlanta finally winning something and not choking. I know a good friend of mine, He's from the Atlanta area, and he says, well, maybe this is the year for Atlanta. Chris Darling in the chat. Chris, you're out there on the racetrack inside the top 5 saying this is awful. Probably not as bad as the beer that Stay Tuned Sports just talked about. He said, there is a Dallas Sucks beer. That is just awful. I don't know who made it. Whoever made that beer, I'm not going to drink it. Sorry. Now, if there was a Eagle Sucks beer, well, that might be more up my alley. That might taste pretty good. I'm sure I can get Garrett Gleason alongside me drinking that one as well. Darling says, it must suck as bad as Dallas. Hey, Dallas ain't too bad. It ain't too bad. It could be worse. But anyway, we're coming around to complete lap number 47 here in just a moment. We'll be at the 1/3 race distance here tonight. The iRacing pace car gonna head back down pit road, and hopefully we can get some green flag running in here, Mitchell, as we've had cautions plague the last couple of laps.
Yeah, been a caution-filled first third of the race, but hopefully that's going to change here. Jason Gracias gets a good start again. James Miller able to keep with him a little more, but Gracias still going to be able to get that position headed through turns 1 and 2, single file through the 5th position. Now, Chris Darling thought about making a move under Philip Scott there through that turn. Darling actually getting attacked from the outside now by the 04 of John Freeman. Freeman actually going to take that position. Maybe no. Darling got a good run through the outside as there is more wrecking through turns 1 and 2 back under caution here at Martinsville.
And Shane Ledoux in the number 12 Threat Level Midnight Machine is a car that we saw go around there at the back of that shot. So caution flag number 6 here in the opening third of the race. Let's see if we can see what happened here between the number 12, Brady Smith, in the number 10 below him. And man, the number 12 just came down onto Brady Smith's nose. Nothing Brady could have done. The 12 going around and spinning in front of the field. Luckily didn't get really collected, gets himself turned around in the right direction and pointed going straight again, but he's going to lose all that track position because Mitchell, we talked about him at one point. He was the biggest mover of the race. Right now, he's going to lose all that spot and be back to 20th.
Yeah, he's run up through the field once. He's going to have to find a way to do it again here. He's still got another 100, a little less than 100 laps left in this race to do it. Another mixed bag on pit road. Your leader, Jason Gracias, pit, as well as quite a few other of your leaders, and Josh Sobel, Philip Scott actually going to win the race out of pit road. Josh Sobel behind him. Then it's Jason Gracia. So this caution with about on lap 51 going to mix up the field here quite a bit. So going to change the complexion of this race a little bit before we go back to green here.
Yeah, and that will give the race lead to John Freeman. Chris Darling now up into second as you see most of your field work your way by the turn 1 camera here at Martinsville Speedway. You see the sun slowly setting on this beautiful paperclip in Virginia. There is your new race leader, just waiting to see the iRacing pace car depart again out there on the racetrack. Folks in the chat, how are you doing here tonight? Anything going on in your life? I've just been working a whole lot, Mitchell. It's been pretty crazy over the last couple of weeks. Been working a lot of overtime at work. And this isn't my work here, folks. But this is kind of overtime on top of overtime, since this is, something I do 3 nights a week here on 3 Wide TV at the moment. So things kind of pretty busy in the household. And, of course, a lot to come over the next couple of months because, Mitchell, we're rapidly closing in on Thanksgiving here in the U.S., and then Christmas comes not all too long after that. So the next 8 weeks are going to be extremely busy.
Yeah, Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas, my favorite time of the year, Peter. I already went to Walmart and got my Christmas lights for this year, added some new ones to my Christmas lights display here at my house. But speaking of lights, the lights on the iRacing pace car have turned off and it is going to be John Freeman in the 04 leading us to the green flag for the first time this race. Chris Darling now up to second. The 22 of Race Clark, he's back up front, Peter. He stayed out under that last caution, going to get himself up into the third position along with Glenn Grimm, who's going to be in fourth here for this restart. But the iRacing pace car now off the track, waiting for the flagman and John Freeman, excuse me, to put us back under green flag. Freeman hits the pedal, so does Chris Darling, and we are back under green once again. A good start for Freeman as they head down towards turn 1 and 2. Darling going to be able to clear into second position, so will Race Clark in third. The battle on for the fourth position, though, between Glenn Grimm and Alexander Kerfan, challenging for that position. Kerfan on the inside gets a good run out of turns 4, not quite able to take it away, though, as don't overlook Ben Mashburn there in the 24. He's going to look under the inside of the 08 as the 30 of Kerfan able to take that fourth position. Mashburn with a lunge down into turns 3 and 4, going to take the position. Now here comes the 10. That's just kind of how it works here at Martinsville sometimes, Peter. Unless you can get that outside lane really rolling, you're kind of at the mercy of whoever's on the inside lane.
Yeah, right now Glenn Grimm is in a little bit of a conveyor belt position. Unfortunately, it's a conveyor belt going backwards as Brady Smith has the preferred inside groove. Glenn Grimm finally able to slot in right in front of Shane Ledoux, who did not just come down pit road a little while ago. First of the drivers who just pitted would be James Miller as, whoa, no! I look away at the live timing scoring for a brief second, and James Miller, I was just mentioning his name, looks like he had to halt on the racetrack, and I was going to say he was the highest place of the drivers who just pitted. Well, that's not true anymore. He just lost all that track position. Let's see what brought out the 7th caution flag tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get a look at it here on the 3-wide TV replay. I believe you're going to dial it up here. There is everyone in the field headed down the front straightaway. We're going to get a slow-mo down into turn 1. It looks like another little bit of an accordion wreck that took place. The 12 of Shane Ledoux involved in it. He goes around. Look at the 1 of Jason Gracias trying to get through it on the outside lane. Very minimal damage to that 1, but just kind of another incident that kind of a bunch of cars lined up bumper to bumper ended up getting into each other there. I think, Peters, another kind of accordion wreck taking place here. Number 6, I believe, if my count's correct. No, yes. 7.
Yeah, we're at number 7 now. Let's see if we can dial up an aerial view of this accident. Watch at the top of your screen, a 21 machine right here. The 09 just gets on the brakes a little bit late, gives a love tap to the 21, and Jeffrey Vickery ends up being the bowling ball to Shane Ledoux, who's the bowling pin, and he goes around. Watch the number 1, like you said there, bottom left of your screen, just making a little bit of contact with the 09 machine. But the 12 went around and brought a couple of drivers to a complete halt. Looks like hopefully the damage is minimal on the number 12 machine, and we can get things going again. That's been one of the things I've been seeing, Mitchell, is these accidents, when they come out, they don't tend to do a whole lot of damage here tonight. So that's the good news. Our car count isn't dwindling yet, but a lot of accidents so far. We're, like you said, caution flag number 7 in the opening 62 laps.
Yeah, it was good driving there by the 12 of Shane Ledoux to get that car locked down. Normally when you see contact from behind like that, that car's headed up into the outside wall. So good job by him keeping that car, 1, locked down, and 2, keeping it in a spot where no one else got into him. So overall, you know, the little minor damage to Gracias, a little to Shane Ledoux, the 09, all those guys, but they're all going to be able to keep going racing. And I mean, you see Race Clark up here in 3rd place in the 22. He's got a ton of damage on that car, but he's still able to run up front, held that 3rd position. So it's Martinsville, it's short track racing, Peter. I think I already mentioned it once, but you can still race with damage. It doesn't hurt you as much unless it's really significant to your suspension or your toe or something, and then that kind of hurts you a little bit more. But iRacing pace car lights are out. I didn't even notice that, but John Freeman getting ready to lead the field back to green. Chris Darling once again starting second, 22 Race Clark in third, and Alexander Kerfan now will start in the fourth position as the iRacing pace car heads down pit road. The 04 getting ready to lead us to green once again here, well out in front of Chris Darling before that start. Darling, though, able to get a pretty good jump headed through the restart zone. Can he keep with him? No, the 04 going to take that position once again through turns 1 and 2. The battle for third now, though, is on. Race Clark has it. Alexander Kerfan wants it on the outside. Ben Mashburn gets into the back of the 22 a little bit. Here comes the 10 of Brady Smith up onto the outside of Mashburn. And I say that Mashburn sends it down the inside. The 22 around. There's another caution.
Yeah, and Ben Mashburn there just absolutely sent it into the corner. Got the rear brakes to step out on the race car, and that was about all she wrote. At least that's what it looks like. We'll get another look here of this one on the 3-wide TV camera. You see there was a little bit of a love tap there from the 22, and I think Race Clark just said, you know, I'm just going to duck back in line here between the number 30, and just Mashburn just sending it in there. And unfortunately, the 22 kind of got cleaned out by the 10, turned him up into the wall. So the National Air and Space Administration, hopefully they can find some carbon fiber or something laying around and fabricate something pretty quickly. I mean, they should be able to. They are the National Air and Space Administration after all that. But let's see if we can kind of have a look on board here with the number 24 machine of Ben Mashburn. You see him looking to the inside, that late lunge. You see that back end just kind of stick out. And Ben Mashburn's able to get away without much damage, but that brings out caution flag number 8 tonight.
Yeah, that's one of those where Ben Mashburn just kind of lost the rear end, headed into there. Unfortunately, the 22 of Race Clark, who really did nothing wrong there, is going to take the vast majority of the damage and punishment from that wreck. But up front, it is still about the same as it was. John Freeman, your race leader. There goes the 27 of Shane Ledoux. No, Stephen Ford. I'm trying to get the name. Stephen Ford, with what little race car he has. Once again, your Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner. Here, thank you to them for sponsoring the Lucky Dog Award. That's one of my favorite awards we have here in the National Sim Racing Association, Peters. There goes the 13 of Jordan Shepler, also headed around the racetrack. But Alexander Kerfan was able to get up into the third. Ben Mashburn now finds himself in fourth, and Brady Smith will take over the fifth place. So things mix up a little bit, but up on the front row, it's going to be the exact same. And everyone here is taking the inside on these starts, and I'm curious. I want someone to take the outside and kind of mix it up, Peter, because we saw on that initial start of the race, Jason Gracias get an incredible start on the outside lane. I want the leader to chance it and go up there on one of these.
Yeah, it seems like, like you said, that leader has taken the inside line every single start here tonight. It did not work out at the very start of the race with Castro starting on that inside line and quickly losing the race lead to the number 1 of Jason Gracias. Gracias now finds himself in the 7th position, and Castro finds himself all the way back in 11th with some different pit strategies out there. And speaking of different pit strategies out there, Mitchell, your race leader right now, John Freeman, has not made any pit stops here tonight in his Chevrolet Camaro. Chris Darling alongside him also in that same boat. No pit stops on the number 11. Then back behind him, Alexander Kerfan and Ben Mashburn. They both pitted on lap number 30 here tonight. Brady Smith and Glenn Grimm both have not made pit stops in the 5th and 6th position, and that's kind of one of the things I mentioned to you. Track position here can be very important.
Yeah, and I see out in the chat asking if Race Clark's okay. He is still on the racetrack with a very damaged car. He's still on the lead lap, though, in the 19th position as the leaders head through turns 3 and 4. Once again, John Freeman leads us to the green flag. Another pretty good start for Chris Darling on the outside lane as they're going to head through turns 1 and 2. Darling still taking the fight to not Race Clark. John Freeman on the outside. Freeman up the track slightly. maybe contact between him and Darling, if at all. It was very small, but Darling really getting that car rolling on the outside lane this time. The 30 of Alex Kerfan looking in the third position, waiting for these two to give him an opportunity to get up there and mix it up. But so far it is Darling and Freeman side by side for the race lead. Ooh, big moment for the 30 of Alexander Kerfan. Clipped the wall out of turns 4, and now we are 3 wide headed into turns 1 and 2. Jason Gracias on the outside backed out of that one, and they managed to keep it clean. Meanwhile, up front, it is Chris Darling, your new race leader, took the lead from John Freeman off a great restart, managed to keep with him on the outside lane, Peter, and that's the key. If you can keep with them through turns 1 and 2 on that outside, usually I feel like you can make it work if you really drive that race car.
Yeah, if you can just pinch them down enough, and if they're willing to give you a little bit of room on the racetrack, which we have not seen a lot of here tonight with all the contact throughout the field, you can get that pass made on that high line. As Matt Cherry might have got into the back there, Brady Smith. Here comes Jason Gracias to the inside of Glenn Grimm. This is currently for the 7th position or so. So Gracias starting to work his way back up through the field. Does have, looks like Castro looking to the inside of James Miller there, but wisely backs out of that late lunge maneuver because, as you can see, not a lot of room between these drivers. These are some of the faster drivers in the field, at least based off of qualifying times and what we have seen in the early running. But now Matt Cherry under fire from Brady Smith in front. So 2 by 2 by 2 here in the middle of the field.
Matt Cherry able to slide up in front of the 10 car, a little bit of a checkup, almost saw the 09 go around. He did a good job hanging on to that car though. Jason Gracias trying to find a way through these cars. The 08 of Glenn Grimm though doing a good job maneuvering through traffic here, and he's up now past Brady Smith as the 01, or not the 01, the 1 up the track a little bit, but Smith, a little damage on his race car, but he's doing a good job hanging in, not giving up a lot of track position, definitely able to fight with these guys. But it is Matt Cherry who leads this group of cars. He is about to be under pressure from Glenn Grimm as they head through turns 1 and 2. The 10 maybe tried to look under the 1 again, not going to make it work. The 10 with a little mid-straightaway block, maybe on the 09 of James Miller. Here comes Gracias, though, looking under the 08 of Glenn Grimm down the front straightaway. That run is not there. Philip Scott looking to get under the 09. That's not going to happen, as you're seeing it all here on the 3Wide TV blimp cam. The 15 Castro, he is on the outside. Philip Scott, will he make the move into turns 3? He's trying to send it up there, but a good run by Castro on the outside of the 09 of Miller. Down the front straightaway, Castro with a good run, rolling that high line. See if he can complete that pass through turns 1 and 2. Try to get the power down on exit. Did a great job at the 09 hanging there on the inside. Will the 10 play a role in this? I'm guessing he will. You see the 9 might have to check up through the corners because that 10 is there. So, contact, maybe between the 09 and the 30. Either way, the 09 around in turn 1, and that is going to be another caution here, Peter. Great racing between those two up until that point, but unfortunately the 09 car going to go around and bring out our 9th caution of the race.
And somebody give that drone operator a raise. Holy cow, that was so awesome to see. Well, let's see if we can break down exactly what happened here. And I believe, watch Alex Castro, the black car. He clips the wall, comes down the racetrack, gets into Miller. The back end of the 09 becomes just a little bit loose. He tried to save it, and unfortunately, the number 99 of Philip Scott was right there. They kind of ping-pong off one another. Philip Scott heavy into the wall. There comes Corey Shellman onto the scene, and Shane Ledoux and Lashinsky there in the number 69, able to get on the binders in time. But this is one where I think we're going to have to go back and see if we can figure out what happened here to Maxwell Castro. Let's see on board the Next Level Racing machine.
Yeah, just clipped the wall out of turns 4, and from there you really can't tell that anything else is happening around it, but unfortunately the '09, the '99, and there was a third car, I forget who it was, all end up with significant damage through that race. I feel like Philip Scott might have come away with the worst of that, as he had nowhere to go but straight into the '09 and straight into the inside wall, as you are now riding on board with that '99, the National Ninja League car of Philip Scott. You can see the 15 get into the wall a little bit. He has to go down. There's contact with the '09. The '09 tries to keep a hold of it, but you can see he spins down, and from there's absolutely nowhere Philip Scott can go. That's just wrong place at the wrong time. And then there's big contact with the inside wall, and the spinning '09, you're going to maybe catch little. Philip got away from that wreck a little too fast for us to see that second contact with the '09, but you can't really blame him, Peter. But unfortunately, he's going to end up with a pretty damaged race car from that one.
Let's get one more look on board with the number 9 machine here of Corey Shellman and see what all happened from his point of view. You see him trying to get on the brakes. Oh, he got hit from behind there, Mitchell. You could just kind of see that he got a little bit of a tap, and that kind of pushed him into that accident. Let's see if we can get another look and see that little tap that might have come from behind, perhaps maybe from Shane Ledoux here, before we jump back to live scenes at the Martinsville Speedway. But there's that little nudge. I think that little nudge might have been just enough to push Corey Shellman into the spinning Canadian there of James Miller, but a tough break for a couple of those drivers. All right, back to live scenes here as the field is doubling up. We've had more takers on pit road. That has given the race lead to Matt Cherry and Alexander Kerfan up at the front of the field. Philip Scott, who was just involved in that accident, he's going to be on the outside of the second row here. Jason Gracias in the number 1. He is going to be on the inside of the second row. Fairly fresh tires on Gracias, and this race has a completely different complexion of it, as that was caution count number 9, I believe. I need to punch that in the chat, but we're back green, Mitchell.
Yeah, and the 30 of Alexander Kerfan, he was listening to me, and he was the leader, took the outside lane on that restart, and it's going to work out pretty well for him. He gets a big gap on Matt Cherry, your second place driver, down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, Philip Scott still running up there in contention. He's in the 4th position, trying to hold back that 9, who is missing the hood of that race car. There's the 22 of Race Clark, who's missing the front bumper of his car. And Jordan Scheffler is in there in the 13. That 13 car doesn't look too bad, Peter. He's managed to keep it clean so far. So is the 04 behind him, as there are spinning race cars into the pit road barrels. The 09 involved, that's the 56 of Josh Sobel, and that will be caution number 10 here on lap 90.
Yeah, caution flag number 10 coming out. So let's see if we can see what brought this caution flag out, involving, unfortunately, Josh Sobel. Let's see right now, right in front of the 09 of James Miller. We'll slow this one down right here, put it in, and oh man, that was we're gonna have to go back and look at that one, I think, in the 3-wide TV slow-mo. Josh Sobel goes for a whale of a ride. Shane Ledoux coming on the scene, and just impales the barrels. James Miller also getting into the barrels in the modal Toyota Supra. But let's see, Mitchell, I think we're going to go back and see whether or not this contact maybe was due to a hitbox issue. I mean, we talk about hitbox usually in like first-person shooters, but let's see this contact here between them. Was James Miller going to get into the back of the 56? That was going to be close. There was obvious distance between them. Let's go rewind the 3-wide TV tape here. There was obvious distance between those cars, and the 09 was definitely slowing up. You could see he was slowing up. He was slowing up. I think that's just iRacing being iRacing there. I think Miller would have slowed up in time to not hit Sobel, but I think that was an internet connection issue. Yeah, Brentley wrote in the chat saying, was that netcode? Yeah, that's a tough one to call. I think that one might be on the side of netcode, but unfortunately, Josh Sobel getting a good chunk of damage from that.
Yeah, also Shane Ledoux, a rough night gotten rougher. He collected some of that damage, locked up the tires, trying to avoid that wreck. Unfortunately for the 12 car, he's going to collect some more damage to pile on top of the others he got. Yeah, I think that looks like netcode, Peter, as you can see the 12 into the back of the 56, but I think I think that 9 got slowed up in time. I think that one's going to be on iRacing, bringing out this latest caution, but Alexander Kerfan's still leading the race up front, and I heard from someone in the chat, that'd be Johnny Williams, my Colts are beating the Jets right now, Peter, so cross your fingers, they're doing all right, but you know who else is doing all right here tonight is Alexander Kerfan, who's been up front most of the night and been in a pretty good position right now. He's taken the outside again, Peter. He's listened to me once, said, oh, that worked. So now the 30 taking the outside lane on this restart. Also, Matt Cherry once again going to line up to his inside. Jason Gracias on those fresh tires now up to third. Philip Scott in fourth. So watch both Jason Gracias and Philip Scott to be aggressive, especially that one who led the early chunk of this race before pitting, but headed through turns 3 and 4, it is the 30 of Alexander Kerfan leading the field to green again. Matt Cherry trying to time this start better, not really going to be able to. A good start though for Philip Scott on the outside, trying to hang with Matt Cherry, not quite going to be able to do it, but the 30 going to scoot away once again. Jason Gracias, wrong Jason, looking on the inside of Philip Scott. He's going to be able to take that third position as you look on the track as that field goes by. I've 22 cars, maybe 21 still in this race here. Is the 13 of Jordan Shepler now looks to the inside of Philip Scott. Philip trying to roll the outside lane out of the turn, but Jordan Shepler able to keep with him now down the back straightaway onto the front stretch, still side by side. Philip Scott, I feel like he's gotten damage at some point, Peter, and that, oh yeah, he was in that wreck, I think 2 accidents ago. That might be hurting him quite a bit now as that car seems to be down on power a little bit down the straightaways.
Yeah, and I think the number 99 of Philip Scott just locked up the left front a little bit on entry to turn number 3. Meanwhile, up in front of them, Jason Gracias now looking to the inside of Matt Cherry. Cherry not giving a lot of room to the number 1 machine of Gracias here, racing him for all it's worth, and looks like Cherry now going to give up that spot as there's contact back behind. The number 13 machine has gone around. Caution flag gone away for the 11th time here tonight. Jordan Shepler this time, the driver who's gone around.
Yeah, Jordan Shepler, I'd been talking about how great a job he'd done keeping his car clean up to this point. We're going to get a look at it down the back straightaway here. Headed down into turn 3, it looks like Philip Scott, aggressive on entry, just came right up into the 13. Nothing, contact from behind, cars, and a head-on collision there for Jordan Shepler. Gonna be really unfortunate. The 21 of Jeffrey Vickery plowed right head-on into the spun around 13. Nothing really Jordan Shepler did wrong there. It's just Philip Scott might have locked him up. We're going to get a look on board with that 99 car here. Just up the racetrack and right into the number 13 through 3 and 4. We've kind of seen that a lot tonight, Peter. It seems to be the cause of a lot of wrecks.
Got another look at this one from the 3-wide TV blimp cam. Jordan Shepler there. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously coming down, but I think he expects the 99 of Philip Scott to be a little bit lower on the racetrack than that. They make contact, and obviously we know what happened to the number 13 machine of Jordan Shepler, as it looks like he got Shellman hit there, and then, oh man, Jeffrey Vickery, as you said, head-on collision between the 13 and the number 21 brings out the caution for the 11th time here tonight, and can officially say that every single person who, at the beginning of the race, chimed in to see how many cautions there were going to be, well, unfortunately, we've broken those numbers, every one of them. We are now at number 11 here tonight, but it is Alexander Kerfan who's got himself up at the front, Jason Gracias in second, and Matt Cherry in third. Let's bring up the point standings entering into tonight. Jason Gracias, of course, with 2 wins to his name, he has already locked himself into the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series chase for the championship. Matt Cherry running behind him in third on the racetrack right now. He has locked himself in. Chris Darling, 2 wins, has locked himself in. And, of course, Maxwell Castro, with his runs, has been extremely fast here in the National Sim Racing Association. In fact, by my score, I believe that, Maxwell Castro has 2 wins instead of just 1 there on the graphic. I think Chris Darling might have made the graphic and given himself an extra win there on the actual list, because Darling's only won once this season at Texas Motor Speedway back on September 30th. But Maxwell Castro has 2 wins to his credit so far this year, and we'll see whether or not he can get towards the front here tonight. But the door is wide open for a new winner here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway with all the caution flags we have had. But again, up at the front of the field, Alexander Kerfan in the number 30. He'll be choosing that high line, this time with Jason Gracias to his inside, Mitchell.
Yeah, new driver starting on the front row with the 30. He's been able to get the outside going, but Jason Gracias has been good on restarts all night long as well, so we'll see what the 30 has for him here as the pace car down pit road. Green flag in the air. The 30 with a good jump over the number 1. Going to get well out in front of Jason Gracias as they head down into turn 1. It'll be Matt Cherry challenging the 04 of John Freeman for the 3rd position. Still side by side as the field goes down the back straightaway. A lot of side by side action through the field is on through turns 3 and 4. The front's going to settle down a little bit. Still mid-pack. There's some good battles going on. Josh Sobel, you can see, making a move there to the inside, trying to get under the 10, who has the 69 car under him right now. That's Steven Lachensky, who's going to try and pull away from the 10. That's Brady Smith through turns 3 and 4. Josh Sobel now following through on the inside lane, trying to get a pass made on the 10. The 08 ducking down to the bottom to cover that 69 car. He is going to get a run under the 9 of Corey Shellman down the back straightaway. The 08 trying to take the 8th position away from Shellman as the 9 got a little bit up the track, opening the door for that 69 car who's going to slot down in front of him. Now Josh Sobel follows through. That 9 car really dropping positions now. There goes the 10. I wonder if something hasn't gone wrong for that 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of damage on the K&N water filters machine here tonight. And now side by side, a little bit further back with Race Clark and Jordan Shepler. I think we're impinging on having more modifieds than we have cars with front bumpers here tonight at Martinsville, as we are working green flag. What seems to be, at least feels to be, one of the longer green flags that we've had here tonight. Hopefully that stays true as Race Clark gets to the outside now of Corey Shellman, put himself back up into the 12th position. There's the 11th place number 10 machine at Brady Smith right behind Glenn Grimm, as we have 1 car towards the back of the pack. I think it was the 12 of Shane Ledoux in the outside wall. Coming out of turn number 2, not sure exactly what happened there, but he is going to lose a couple of positions now, falling back to 16th. And I do apologize, Race Clark is in 17th position, 1 lap down, hoping to get the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award here. And assuming we get some more cautions, he might very well get that. Johnny Williams in the chat saying the Colts have a 21-10 lead now, as the Jets have scored a field goal. But up at the front, Alexander Kerfan. And you know what's really surprising to me about this number 30 machine, Mitchell? He pitted on lap number 30. That was 81 laps ago. And he's actually pulling away from Jason Gracias, who pitted on lap number 50. So only 20 laps different on tires between the 30 and the number 1. But so far, Kerfan here able to turn on the Jets, so to speak, as we close in on 38 laps to go.
Yeah, that 30's also had a lot of heat cycles. A lot of cautions have been able to help equalize those tires, and Jason Gracias has had to drive through the field, so a little more wear and tear maybe on the 1's tires that's kind of equalized them up front. Chris Darling, I'm noticing, is getting a little bit impatient, I think, behind the 04. He's poked his nose out a few times, trying to get to make a move. He's going to do it here again down the front straightaway as Ben Mashburn's closing in behind them. Almost contact between the 04 and the 11 through turns 1 and 2. Now side by side down the back straightaway. Darling on the inside. The 04 though with a big drive in on that outside lane, trying to get it to turn. Darling gets through that corner a little better, but they're still side by side. Watch Mashburn. He'll try and follow the 11 if he can get around the 04. He is not quite going to be able to get under, though. Darling takes the 3rd position away from John Freeman. Ben Mashburn there in 5th challenging, and here comes Maxwell Castro. You talked about him, Peter. He's been hot here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. He is now up in the 6th position challenging. Meanwhile, race for 2nd place appears to be heating up. Chris Darling taking the challenge to Jason Gracias in the 11. Darling putting a lot of pressure onto Gracias. These top 6 cars, though, Peter, have broken away by about 2 seconds already on this green flag run, as Darling underneath Jason Gracias will take that position. There comes the 04 trying to get under him. Can the 04 hold it down the back straightaway? Yes, the 04 gets to the inside. Gracias drives it in hard. So does the 04. And that'll be John Freeman clearing Gracias down the front straightaway. Mashburn trying to follow along the inside lane. Gracias, can he get the drive out to clear Mashburn? No, it doesn't look like he can. Mashburn now attacking the 1, and that's what we've seen. Just one car getting under you, and you drop so many positions here at Martinsville.
Yeah, that is true. And if you're looking at the battle box in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you're wondering what the L50 means. That means lap 50. That is the last time Jason Gracias was on pit road. Ben Mashburn, Maxwell Castro, laps 83 and 90. Those drivers have much fresher tires than Jason Gracias. Excuse me, really starting to struggle at this stage of the run. But meanwhile, up at the front, battle for the race lead between Alexander Kerfon and Chris Darling. Kerfon hasn't been on pit road since lap number 30 here tonight. But here comes Darling with the fresher tires, trying to get his 2nd win of the season here tonight at Martinsville as we close in on just 30 laps to go, and Darling is there. Mitchell to the inside, going to clear him coming off a 2.
Yeah, give the lead to not Jason Gracias. Chris Darling now gets well out in front of the 30 as they are starting to come up on some lap traffic. Jason Gracias passed now by Maxwell Castro, trying not to lose too much to that 15, but he's able to scoot away, looking a little bit farther back in the pack. That's Matt Cherry leading the 08, the 10, the 22 of all those drivers bumper to bumper. That is Matt Cherry in the 9th position. That's 9th through 12th place you see right here on your screen right now. Behind them is Jordan Shepler in the 13s toward the bottom of that group trying to catch up, and that is Josh Sobel in front of them in the 8th position. Cherry doing a pretty good job holding these cars behind him. The 08 trying to get a little bit of a run. You can see the 08 maybe trying to lunge down into turn 3, not going to be able to make it stick though. Cherry going to hold the position, but definitely watch these cars here. Could be some battles brewing a little bit further back in the pack. As you see that lap 20 car staying high out of these guys' way. Cherry, maybe a little bit of contact with that lap car. Will that give the 08 a chance to maybe get some momentum down the front straightaway? It doesn't look like it as the 20 up into the wall. Now Race Clark getting pressure from Jordan Shepler. Neither of those cars with a front bumper, but it doesn't really matter. They're both hanging in there in the pack. Some pretty tight racing here just around the top 10.
Yeah, and some pretty tight racing up inside the top 5, as well as 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Freeman, Mashburn, and Castro all find themselves together. 25 laps to go. It's starting to be go time here at Martinsville. Ben Mashburn diving to the inside, throwing a block on Maxwell Castro. They're catching up to Stephen Ford, the lapped car, but Mashburn got wicked loose coming out of turn number 4. Now he's going to try and use the 27 as a little bit of a pick, but Maxwell Castro tries to do the old over-under, and here he comes underneath the number 24 machine. A brilliant maneuver by the number 15. That's what I like to call a patient, opportunistic maneuver by Maxwell Castro. He now gets himself up to 4th.
Yeah, good move by Castro. Pretty good save by Mashburn, too, out of turn 4. That car easily could have been in that inside wall. Ben Mashburn able to keep it going. Falls to the 5th position, but here's a fight between Philip Scott and Jordan Shepler for the 12th position. And Scott gonna scoot away. So will the 05, or the 14 on screen, excuse me. So Jordan Shepler falling back some positions there. Meanwhile, you see the 15 able to already get around that 04. Ben Mashburn now trying to make something happen. Not going to do it through turns 3 and 4 as they're going to about to lap the 21. That is Jeffrey Vickery. Ben Mashburn hoping that 04 is going to get caught with the lap car on the outside a little bit, but so did Mashburn. They kind of split that lap car, but Castro pulling away from these two already, but there's only about 20 laps to go. He needs to run in about 2 seconds on race leader Chris Darling if he wants a chance. And actually, Alexander Kerfan out of fuel in pit road has to make a pit stop. That is disaster for the car running second with just 20 laps to go, Peter. We talked about same thing with Matt Cherry here. They made their pit stops early and they were hanging in there on the old tires, but unfortunately the fuel catches up with Matt Cherry and Alexander Kerfan. So that'll move Maxwell Castro up into second. Now he just has to go drive up and catch Chris Darling, and that 15 is running down Darling though for that race lead, but with 19, almost 18 laps to go, does he have enough time?
Well, there you can see it. Castro has been anywhere between a half second to 0.3 slower than Chris Darling over the last couple of laps, so kind of evening out. So Darling now has clean traffic in front of him, trying to pick up his second win of the season. We mentioned that his graphic was incorrect, that he gave himself 2 wins on that graphic, because Darling's usually the one who makes that graphic, but maybe he was just foreshadowing what was going to happen here tonight in the Taz Racing Customs number 11. Of course, Taz Racing Customs, a sponsor of the Biggest Mover of the Race Award. Make sure to check out Taz Racing Customs. Their Facebook page is in the description here tonight if you want a custom diecast. But as you can see, Darling this time not losing a whole lot, about 11 thousandths of a second. Right now, Castro is going to need to pick up quite a bit more than that if he is going to want to go to victory lane here tonight at Martinsville.
Yeah, not a lot of time left. These laps wind by quickly. He has barely gained the last few laps, but he needs more than that. As you see the 10 looking under the 08, who got way up the racetrack there through turns 3 and 4, going to fall down to the 9th position, excuse me. The 10 up to the 8th position now. That is Race Clark 1 lap down. It's also Philip Scott in the 10th position with Glenn Grimm in 9th. Those drivers putting on a little bit of a fight here for us. The 14, that car is a lap down, but that is Thomas Kohick trying to fight. Is actually 11 laps down, but still trying to take a little bit of a fight. Meanwhile, up in the 3rd position, we have a battle on our hands between Philip Scott, and not Philip Scott, John Freeman and Ben Mashburn. As you see the 54 Matt Cherry lap down now after just having to pit right in front of these two. Ben Mashburn lunging down into turn 3. Almost contact between those two. The 04 up the track on exit. Mashburn loose again out of turn 4. The 04 going to hold the position this time, but this battle definitely not going anywhere. As Mashburn going to try and get it wound up again. Jason Gracias also in the 5th position, not too far behind these two, so don't count Gracias out of this battle for the 3rd position, especially if these two start getting racy. He's right there to take advantage of it. But Matt Cherry not really be able to scoot away from these drivers. He's kind of hanging right there, so will he be a factor in this battle? Only time will tell, but coming to 10 laps to go now is Chris Darling, your race leader, who has still maintained a 2-second lead over Maxwell Castro, so not much changed out front as Mashburn makes another look under the 04 of John Freeman, headed into turns 1 and 2. Not going to be able to make it stick down the back straightaway. Will he try again? No, there's a lot of room to make up, but Mashburn, he's really driving it in hard, Peter, given it all that car has left in it.
And I was concerned about this, Mitchell. I was thinking about this while you were talking just a moment ago, that, the Kerfon, who was our race leader at one point, pitted 20 laps before Jason Gracias. He pitted with 20 laps to go, but comparatively, there was a lot more caution flags in that first half of the race. So with that in mind, Jason Gracias, I think I put the graphic up a little while ago, out of fuel. I think he's completely out of fuel, coming to a halt on pit lane and jumping out of the number 1 machine. Going to have to take a tow back to his pit box. Jason Gracias here running it completely dry. That is a big shame for the 2-time winner this season, although he's already locked into the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series chase. So he won't be all too upset with that, Mitchell, running it completely dry, but he is definitely out of fuel. Chris Darling right now coming around, just 6 more laps to go here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series Martinsville 150. If you're just now joining us, 11 cautions in the opening 100 laps here tonight. We have been green flagged now since around lap number 100. So the longest green flag run by far all night long, as the field was finally able to kind of break up into smaller packs, Mitchell, and that has really helped the green flag racing.
Yeah, once this field got spread out, we were able to have a pretty long green flag run here. We just weren't able to stay green long enough earlier to do that, as this battle between Ben Mashburn and the 04 of John Freeman has not died down. I was watching a few laps ago while we were looking at Jason Gracias. Ben Mashburn almost lost control of it. He was sideways headed down into turn 1, but he's able to gather back up and has run down the 04 once again. Mashburn has the speed, looking for a way around the 04, tried to get to his corner panel, headed out of turn 4. Will he make the move down into turn 1? No, almost got to the bumper of the 04, trying to set him up here for a pass, but the 04 really, I think, able to get the power down better on exit than Mashburn is, but Ben Mashburn really able to drive it into these corners a lot harder than the 04 is, but with only 2 laps, or 3 laps, no, I'm right, 2 laps to go in the races, there is a little bit of contact there between the 24 and 04 through turns 1 and 2. Mashburn looking for any way at this point, around almost desperation, as the white flag is out for Chris Darling, your race leader, is through out of turns 4. Ben Mashburn able to get to the inside of the 04 of John Freeman, so that battle for position is on as they're about to come out of the turn. Meanwhile, up front, it is Chris Darling to scoot it away to an easy win here in the last bit of this race. Meanwhile, the 24 has taken the position from the 04, come to the checkered flag. It will be Ben Mashburn who will finish in the 3rd position in a great battle there to the end, as the 9 car around in the turn. Maxwell Castro did bring it home to finish in 2nd place. So your top 3, Chris Darling, Maxwell Castro, and Ben Mashburn, and John Freeman gave it a great effort, Peter, but not quite enough for the 3rd place. But here's the driver who did give it a great effort tonight, Chris Darling, able to come out on top here at Martinsville. Kind of not really up there as much in the first half of this race, but the second half of the race, he was up here contending the whole time, and he's going to come away with the win.
Winner, winner, Taz Racing Customs dinner for the number 11 of Chris Darling, as someone goes spinning around on the front stretch. But look at that, number 11 emblazoned with a bunch of the series sponsors there. MaxGrafix.co on the hood. In fact, MaxGrafix.co machine of Ben Mashburn coming home 3rd. Craig Setup Shop there on the rear deck lid of the number 11. Chris Darling slaloming down the front stretch by lighting up those tires. It went green for the final 50 or so laps here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway, and Darling able to use his strategy to really work out. I think Kerfon and obviously Jason Gracias there, Mitchell, were relying on there being more cautions late in the race, and it just didn't come.
I mean, if you looked at the trend of the first 100 laps of this race, it was a great strategy, but unfortunately for them, the cautions just didn't come in the last 50 laps of this race. We got the green flag run we were hoping for, though, and Chris Darling really showed the speed he had in him, able to outdrive Maxwell Castro, as Darling blowing the engine up now in his celebration. That's going to put an end to the festivities for the number 11, but a great drive from Chris. This is a track I know he's done very well at. I've raced Chris here before. Definitely a formidable opponent here at Martinsville, and he showed us why here today.
Well, let's see if we can get some of those drivers for our post-race interviews here on 3 Wide TV. Perhaps we'll even get to talk to Maxwell Castro this week. He says he's been working on getting his microphone working. Let's start with tonight's third-place finisher, though, Mitchell. I believe you've caught up with Ben Mashburn.
Yeah, Ben Mashburn, Mitchell Adams in the 3 Wide TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Hey, how's it going, Mitchell?
It's going pretty good up here, and you ended up taking home that third-place finish there in the closing laps. Tell us what you were thinking there in your battle with the 04.
Just stay close. I knew it was going to be hard to pass him there at the end. No reason to dive bomb or anything like that. I feel like I was faster than him. So if I just stayed close and there at the last 1 or 2 laps to go, I'd give him the bump and run. So kind of feel like it all worked out right there. Well, I think on the very last lap is when I finally decided to move him. So it all worked out.
It definitely worked out for you in the end. It was a pretty chaotic race here tonight at Martinsville. How'd it go from your perspective here tonight?
It was definitely hectic. You're right. But after the little bit of hectic right there, seems like we got a nice little green flag rug right there at the end. And so it was good to at least finish on a green flag run. And then, it's Martinsville. Half the job is just to survive. So I at least did that and made it to the end. So that's what counts.
And looking at the schedule here for the Spear Street Journal Grand National Series, next week the series heads to Talladega, another race that could turn out to be pretty exciting. What are your thoughts going into Talladega?
Talladega is obviously one of my favorites. I'm a super speedway junkie, I guess. So it's kind of like Martinsville. Anything can go, anybody can win. Just got to be in the right spot at the right time. So hopefully we'll put our car in the right spot at the right time next week and end up in victory lane next week.
Well, best of luck to you doing that. Before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs you want to give here?
Obviously, MaxGrafix Racing. There, it's good to get 2 podiums. Chris did a good job winning. So good job for the team. Dr. Mashburn, the podcast. Make sure everybody checks that out. That's my wife's journey on becoming a doctor and her little podcast. So that's out there, and I'd say that's pretty much it.
Well,
you
thank
guys
you.
Are doing a pretty good job on the broadcast. I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you for the shout out, and thank you for stopping in and talking to us here, Ben. Congratulations again on your third-place finish.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
All right, well, folks, that's going to do it with tonight's third-place finisher, driver of the number 24 machine, Ben Mashburn. Let's see if we can get Maxwell Castro. He's here in the chat. Maxwell Castro, Peter Short 3 Wide TV booth. You get a copy? We'll try that again. Maxwell Castro, Peter Short 3 Wide TV booth. You get a copy? I wonder if someone needs to give him like a role or something for him to be able to talk. Maybe we can work that out. Maxwell, unfortunately, not able to hear you again here in the Discord channel tonight, but do want to say congratulations on your second place finisher. We'll get this all worked out at some point. Hopefully, we can get it all worked out. But congratulations on your second place finish. A very spirited drive from you with some great last race antics. Chris Darling just said, "Let's try now." Obviously, he's listening to the broadcast as well. You got a copy? I'll try one more time. Maxwell Castro, Peter Short 3 Wide TV booth. Got a copy? Try leaving the Discord server and coming back in, Maxwell. We'll see if that maybe something needs to be reset or something. I don't know. Try leaving and coming back. Or maybe let me move you and bring you back in. Maxwell, Peter Short, 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy? Well, unfortunately, we cannot hear you. Unfortunately, Maxwell, hopefully we can get this all rectified next week. I'm going to send you back down to the interview waiting room with Ben Mashburn. We'll see maybe if I can see you're trying everything to try and get it to work here. But unfortunately, just not getting anything out on your end. Not sure if I'm not sure really why we can't hear you. There's nothing. I don't have you muted. I don't have anything else. So yeah, really not sure. Unfortunately, but hopefully we can work that out for next week. Maxwell, congratulations on your second place finish here tonight. All right. Well, unfortunately, unable to get Maxwell Castro. Oh, wait. Hold on. He's back up here in the booth. Maxwell Castro, you got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now.
Oh, there we go. It just took 1, 2, 3, 20 tries, something like that. But hey, speaking of 20 tries, it took you 20 tries out there on the racetrack to get up there near the front. A really spirited battle all night long. Of course, started on the pole, quickly lost that lead, and some good side-by-side action early on. Of course, a couple of cautions. You kept your nose pretty clean. At one point, you were involved in a little bit of contact with one of the other competitors. You went all the way to the back of the field, but then you raced your way back up to the front there at the end. Talk us through your night.
Oh, man, yeah, I just wanted to stay clean. I've never raced at Martinsville on iRacing before in any vehicle and only had maybe about 45 minutes of practice. So I just was keep the fenders clean, don't make anybody angry, don't ruin anybody's race, and just followed whatever the one car was doing because he seemed to be really fast. And then the 09 and I made contact. I bounced off the wall, and I think he got a little piece of me, and it caused a crash. So I do want to apologize to him about that.
Well, nonetheless, you did go back to the back of the field, and you raced your way back up. Probably ran out of time there at the end. Were you hoping to see another caution flag to maybe have another crack at Chris Darling there late in the race, or had you seen enough of the caution flag tonight?
I think I've seen enough, to be honest. I wasn't really good on restarts, so I know if we had a late race caution, I would have been probably not in second at the end of it. So I was hoping maybe, because I felt like I was catching him. I wasn't sure if I was, but I was giving it everything I had. And I would have liked to have made it 3 in a row, but I'm just really happy with another top 3 finish. I'm really thankful to be a part of this league. It's some amazing racing. So it all worked out. I was very happy with that.
Yeah, a great race for you again here tonight. Next week we go to Talladega Super Speedway. What are your thoughts to go into Super Speedway race here in the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series?
Oh man, I'm really nervous. I'm not a really good plate racer, and so I'm just gonna, I don't know, man. Honestly, just to hang in there and try not to be in any wrecks or cause any wrecks, and just hopefully be in the right place at the right time on the last lap.
Well, definitely going to be an awesome race next week right here on 3 Wide TV, 8:30 Eastern Time. Maxwell, before we go, anyone you want to give a shout out to now that your mic works?
Yeah, right. Shout out to you guys and everybody who throws this league together. It's been really cool to race with you guys for 3 weeks now. The streams are incredible. The racing's incredible. Everything is done really well. So it's just shout out to y'all. It's been a joy being a part of this.
Absolutely. Well, Maxwell, congratulations on your 3rd consecutive top 2 finish here in the National Sim Racing Association. We'll see you again next week.
Already appreciate it.
All right, folks. Glad we finally were able to get a hold of him. But let's see if we can go down to Victory Lane, where I believe Mitchell Adams is caught up with Chris Darling.
Yeah, I'm down here in Victory Lane with Chris Darling. Do you have a copy?
I got you.
Well, it was a really good drive from you there at the end of the race, and throughout the race, what were you thinking there?
Just survival, really. Anytime you come to Martinsville, you're kind of just hoping to survive at first. I know we had a bunch of cautions in the beginning, and then we got that long run, and I sort of felt like I had something for the leaders, but I wasn't really 100% sure. So, I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited to win this one. I liked that track. It was fun, and I kind of want to race there some more.
It definitely ended up being a really good race toward the end, especially. And we were worried. I wasn't sure if you were going to get run down or not, but you managed to keep that gap really well up to the second place car. Did you figure anything out throughout the race that gave you that speed toward the end?
No, I didn't really figure anything new out. I just knew I needed to be consistent. I was kind of watching the times between me and Maxwell, and I know there's a couple laps where he gained 2 or 3 tenths on me, and I'm not really sure where that came from. But once I got out in front of the lap cars, I sort of got into a little rhythm, and that's anytime I can get into a rhythm, I know I'm going to do well. But it's just a matter of getting into it to begin with. So. That's sort of why I was kind of struggling with all those cautions early on. So I don't know, man. It was cool. I'm glad I could keep that gap though. I wasn't really sure how Maxwell races people. I wasn't really sure how I was going to defend the position if he got to me. So I don't know. I'm happy I kept it extended a little bit.
And looking on toward next Thursday night, the series is going to be at Talladega. What are your thoughts headed into that track?
I'm ready. I love super speedways. I know that my team is usually pretty good at figuring out how to get up front, so we'll make sure we have a good strategy to do that at some point. And other than that, I don't know if I could somehow find my way out of the chaos that's pretty much sure to happen at Talladega. I think I'd like to get another win there, and maybe get this season kick-started. I had a rough few races, so I just want to get back on track here.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on track next week, and hopefully you can find the success you did this week. But do you have any shout-outs you want to give here on 3Y TV?
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to Bear Street Journal, 3Wide TV, Taz Racing Customs, my sponsor. If anybody's looking for a custom diecast of their sim racing car or any car really, hook up with him. He does a great job, fair pricing. So just check him out. Pretty much everybody else that helps put this league on. It's not just me up there. There's several people, a lot of core people that help. So just want to give them all a shout out. And I don't know, on to next week.
Well, thank you for stopping by, and go celebrate your win, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Chris, before you go, the graphic that you put up today for your number of wins this season, believe it or not, said 2. And the only race you had won before tonight was at Texas. So you somehow, some way you foreshadowed your win here tonight at Martinsville. I thought
wow.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. You already had 2 wins on the list. So
I didn't even mean to do that. It looks like Maxwell was supposed to go where I was supposed to go. So, but hey, that works. You know what? Maybe it was just in the back of my mind, and that's just happened to be how it worked, I guess.
You just knew it. But congratulations, Chris. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, folks, that's going to do it with the post-race interview from Victory Lane here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway. Let's see if we can dial up tonight's final race results here from the paperclip, because it was an interesting race, that is for sure. Taking on the win, we just talked with him, Chris Darling here tonight. Maxwell Castro tried to go for 3 in a row. Came up 1 spot short, 2 seconds back. Ben Mashburn third. John Freeman going to come home with a solid 4th place in the 04 machine. Josh Sobel, how about that, coming back for a top 5? He said he'd never raced here before in the 56 machine. So another top 5 at another track that he's never raced at. Things going well for Sobel right now. Lashinsky in the 69 going to come home in 6th. Brady Smith in 7th. Glenn Grimm in the 08. Gonna finish 8th. In fact, that's kind of funny. We had John Freeman in the 04 finish 4th, and the 08 finishes in 8th. How about that? Jordan Shepler gonna come home in 9th, and Philip Scott rounding out your top 10, Mitchell.
Yep, coming home in the 11th position was Race Clark. Shane Ledoux brings it home in 12th. Matt Cherry 13th. Stephen Ford 14th. Alexander Kerfan, after running up front a lot late in the race, ended up 15th. Jeffrey Vickery 16th. Jason Grazius, another strong contender tonight, will end up in the 17th position. Corey Shellman 18th. Thomas Kohik 19th. Jason Shue rounds out your top 20, and then Joshua Watt came home in 21st, and James Miller rounded out your field in 22nd.
Yeah, so 22 drivers took the green flag here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway. and definitely was one wild ride. Want to give a shout out, of course, to Taz Racing Customs, the sponsor of the Biggest Mover of the Race award. And tonight, the Biggest Mover of the Race is going to go to driver of the number 24 machine, finishing in third, Ben Mashburn. And folks, while you're thinking about Taz Racing Customs, so make sure you check out their Facebook page. There's a link in the description to get custom diecasts, which they specialize in making. If you can dream it, they can build it. Big shout out to them. BeerStreetJournal.com. Make sure you check out their website. Stay Tuned Sports. They were in the chat here tonight. Their podcast, the link to their Podbean is also in the description. Big shout out to them. Of course, tomorrow night we will be right here on 3Wide TV, the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series at 9 o'clock Eastern on the channel. MaxGrafix.co, as well as our friends over at CraigSetupShop.co.uk and Brookstone Animal Hospital for making everything possible here in the National Sim Racing Association. Our friends over at Sim TV for the camera angles as well. Mitchell, anything you want to give a mention to before we call it a night?
Well, just thank you for having me up here in the booth tonight, Peter. Garrett Gleason for letting me come up here and giving me the chance to call this race with you. I had fun. Definitely had a rough start to the race, but these Beer Street Journal Grand National Series drivers showed us what they can do there toward the end and really put on a show toward the finish.
Yeah, that they did. Garrett is expected to be back in the booth next week here on 3Y TV in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. But for myself, Mitchell Adams, and everyone else in the 3Y TV family, have a good night, stay safe, and all that good stuff, and we shall see ya!